all the talk about fighting for the soul of America, nobody seems to like it very much. Too many liberals give the impression that to them, America's just a big, ugh. The red, white, and ew. You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable privileged souls we are? Immigrants.
Bill Maher recently took aim at parts of the political left for what he sees as growing hostility toward the country itself, and his message struck a nerve. In the aftermath of last year's election, many progressives openly distanced themselves from conservatives, cutting off relationships and writing off millions of voters. Maher warned that this kind of reaction could come back to hurt Democrats long-term. Speaking on Real Time with Bill Maher, he argued that treating Trump supporters as enemies isn't just rejecting a political group, it's rejecting half the nation. That idea sits at the heart of his critique, and it's worth unpacking why it matters now more than ever.
Too many liberals give the impression that to them, America's just a big, ugh. The red, white, and ew. A country that started out bad and will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of sucking and unable to change. But we have changed a lot. But I am a perspective guy, and that's what too much of the left has lost, perspective. 72% of black people under 30 are optimistic about their future in America, way more than white people the same age. And as far as the land goes, yes, I guess we could change the name of Captain America to Captain Stolen Land.
This is Maher at his most direct, challenging a narrative that has gone largely unquestioned for years. Some progressive voices frequently claim that America offers diminishing opportunity, particularly for black Americans, and that the system is fundamentally stacked against them. That view has been repeated so often it's treated as settled truth. Maher counters by pointing to survey data and polling that tell a more nuanced story. Many black Americans report optimism about their future, say their lives are improving, and express pride in living in the United States. That doesn't mean inequality or discrimination don't exist, but it does suggest the country isn't the hopeless landscape it's often portrayed to be. Maher's point is simple. Fear-driven narratives may grab attention, but they don't always reflect the full reality.
Honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements, where they say, I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe, I say either give it back or shut up.
Maher also takes issue with what he views as performative activism, particularly ceremonial gestures like land acknowledgements at public events. He questions the sincerity of repeatedly declaring that one is standing on land once taken from indigenous tribes without any accompanying action. His argument isn't directed at Native communities themselves, but at the symbolism replacing substance. If no restitution, reform, or material change follows, the gesture becomes empty. In Maher's view, these rituals exist less to address injustice and more to signal virtue. Real accountability requires sacrifice or meaningful effort, not carefully scripted statements that cost nothing and change nothing.
But again, something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable privileged souls we are? Immigrants.
He then contrasts that mindset with the perspective of immigrants, many of whom arrive in the United States deeply grateful for the opportunity to be here. Their appreciation isn't rooted in ideology, it comes from experience. Many have lived under corruption, repression, or economic hardship and recognize the freedoms and opportunities the U.S. provides. Maher notes that this perspective is often brushed aside by critics who focus exclusively on America's flaws. He also suggests that much of the recent anger toward the country intensified after political loss, arguing that if the election outcome had been different, the national mood on the left might look very different as well. Immigrants, he argues, notice that contradiction immediately.
Ask any of them why they came here, and they will tell you the same thing. Ron DeSantis put me on a plane. But they will also tell you that America, for all that's so shitty about it right now, is still the last best hope. And those people asking for our votes to take it over should remember that.
That contradiction becomes harder to ignore when it comes to immigration itself. If America is truly as irredeemable as some critics claim, Maher asks, why encourage more people to come here? The messaging doesn't align. On one hand, the country is described as deeply broken and oppressive. On the other, it's treated as a destination worth opening doors to. The reality, Maher suggests, is that even harsh critics recognize America still offers freedoms and opportunities that are rare globally. Beneath the rhetoric is an unspoken acknowledgement that the country remains valuable, desirable, and worth engaging with.
If, for your exile, you do wind up in some comparatively luxurious place like Canada or Japan or the UK, not that they want you. At best, you'll be trading a bunch of stuff you hate about this country for a bunch of stuff you'll soon hate about your new home. It took me only 4 days in Amsterdam to learn that while I admire Amsterdam, I don't want to live there. The buildings are cramped and shaped like needles. The food is awful. The TV's in a different language. It's wet and cold. The people are polite but cold, and they do a bunch of weird. The explanation for, according to my friend, was just remember they're high.
When the slogans and outrage fade, Maher argues one truth remains. The United States is still an exceptional place to live. Not perfect, not above criticism, but uniquely free in ways that matter. Rights like free speech, due process, and open dissent are not universal. They're fragile and uncommon. Maher's frustration stems from seeing those freedoms taken for granted by people who benefit from them daily. You can openly criticize leaders, protest institutions, and challenge authority here with little fear of punishment. That perspective, he says, is often clearer to those who've lived elsewhere. Progress requires honesty and balance, not exaggeration or contempt.
And arbitrary detentions are widespread in Cuba, Ecuador, El Salvador, Nicaragua. If you're wondering how that's just like no cash bail, it's not.
That perspective becomes even clearer when you step back and compare the United States to other Western countries that are frequently praised as being more progressive or enlightened. In America, freedom of speech is not a privilege handed down by the government or adjusted based on public opinion. It is protected at the constitutional level, designed specifically to shield unpopular, uncomfortable, or dissenting views. The First Amendment exists not to protect agreeable speech, but to protect speech that challenges power, questions authority, and pushes against social consensus. In contrast, countries like the United Kingdom operate under much broader speech laws, where authorities can investigate or intervene over expression labeled as harmful, offensive, or destabilizing, even in the absence of violence or criminal intent. While these systems are often framed as compassionate or protective, they also create a reality where the boundaries of acceptable speech are constantly shifting, shaped by political pressure, cultural trends, or government interpretation. That uncertainty alone can discourage open debate and self-expression. This isn't about defending cruelty, hate, or chaos. It's about understanding how rare genuine free expression truly is, and how quickly it can disappear once speech becomes something that must be approved, monitored, or regulated based on subjective standards. When people grow accustomed to guardrails on speech, even well-intentioned ones, freedom doesn't vanish overnight. It erodes gradually, quietly, and often with public approval. That's the core of Maher's warning. America's system is not perfect, and it has never claimed to be. But its protections are extraordinary, historically rare, and easy to take for granted. When citizens forget why those protections exist, or assume they'll always be there, they become vulnerable to losing them without realizing what's happening. By the time the consequences are obvious, reclaiming those freedoms becomes far more difficult. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you found this breakdown thoughtful or useful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for more discussions that dig deeper than the headlines.